All right, there we are, streaming live. Okay, everyone, we are live. Welcome to Monday, February 1st, Joint Standing Committee of the Environment and Natural Resources. I'm Senator Stacey Brenner, and I represent Scarborough, Buxton, and Gorham in Senate District 30. And I am excited to welcome you all here. We have lots of guests that we're gonna bring in and out of the room. I wanted to start us off with a quote so we can kind of ground ourselves in the work that we have coming forward and also in welcoming all of our guests. This is from Pope Francis. There can be no sincere and enduring resolution to the challenge of the ecological crisis and climate change unless the response is concerted and collective, unless the responsibility is shared and accountable, unless we give priority to solidarity and service. That's from Pope Francis. All right, so what I'd like to do is have each of us introduce ourselves to the public, and then we'll get on with the business of the day. Rep. Ziegler.
Thank you, Senator, and good morning. I'm Representative Paige Ziegler. I represent District 96, the 7 wonderful towns of Belmont, Liberty, Lincolnville, Montville, Morrill, Palermo, and Searsmont.
Representative Bell.
Good morning. Arthur Bell. I represent District 47, which is Yarmouth, Chesapeake, and Long Island. Happy winter.
And Representative Johansson.
Good morning. Chris Johansson, representing House District 145, the 18 organized towns between Bridgewater and Sherman.
And Representative Dudera.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Vicki Dudera. I represent House District 94, the towns of Camden and Rockport, and the island of Islesboro.
And Representative Gramlich.
Good morning. Thank you, Senator. I am Lori Gramlich, and I represent the lovely seaside community of Old Orchard Beach, House District 13.
And Representative O'Connor.
Good morning. I'm Representative O'Connor. I represent the individuals of House District 5, which is Berwick and North Berwick.
Representative Bloom.
Good morning, Senator. Thank you for that quote. That was very nice. I'm Representative Lydia Bloom. I represent House District 3 on the coastal portion of York.
And Representative Hanley.
Good morning. I'm Jeff Hanley. I represent District 87, which is Pittston, Alna, Wiscasset, and Randolph, and the Nahumgeg Island and the Kennebec.
And Senator Bennett.
Thank you. I'm Rick Bennett. I have the privilege of representing in the state Senate the most beautiful part of Maine. It's the greater Freiburg area, the Lakes region in Cumberland County, and the Oxford Hills. Good to be with you.
And my co-chair, Representative Tucker.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Representative Ralph Tucker. I represent Brunswick, House District 50. Thank you.
All right. So what you can expect this morning is that we will bring our participants in groups of 3 to 4. And we will announce who's going to be in the queue so that if you are expecting to introduce yourselves to us today, you will know that you're coming up and you'll be ready to go. I'm going to have my phone timer, which I will hold up when you have 20 to 30 seconds left to try to keep folks to 2 minutes. And we intend to move straight through today without a break and envision finishing sometime shortly at noon or thereafter. Of course, as always, if you need to take a break, please turn off your screen and mute yourself before you step away. And if you forget to mute, I might go in or Sabrina might go in and take the liberty of muting you so that there aren't any hot mic issues or barking dogs in the background, that sort of thing. All right, if everybody feels comfortable, we'll go ahead and get started. And we're going to start with Jeff Marks first, then Dan Bell, and then Margaret Gorman, excuse me.
Hang on a second. I believe that we are going to hear from the Saco River Corridor Commission first.
Oh, you are correct. Let me go back up top here. My apologies.
It's okay.
Galen, you have a screen share for us, right?
I do. Thank you everyone so much for allowing me the opportunity to present on the work of the Saco River Corridor Commission this morning. Let me share my screen with you. Can everyone see the presentation? Yes? Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. So the Saco River Corridor Commission was established in 1971 as concerned citizens from the area approached the legislature due to concern for poorly planned development, overcrowding, and degradation to the water quality of the Saco, Ossipee, and Little Ossipee rivers. The Saco River is the most widely recreated river in Maine and also acts as the sole source of drinking water for many of our communities, of which Saco and Biddeford are the largest. Before the commission was established, a survey was sent to all landowners along the river. The unusually high number of replies indicated widespread concern for the future of the river, and 88% of respondents believed extra land use controls are necessary. When asked who should administer land controls, if any, a mixed response was received. So the legislature decided to establish the commission as a quasi-state agency to have the power of the state while the law is carried out on a local and regional level by members of our own communities. This allows the commission to monitor the scope of all development occurring in the corridor locally and throughout the region. The 105th Maine State Legislature found the water quality of the inland portions of the rivers to be very high and largely unspoiled by intensive or poorly planned development. The rivers and their associated wetlands constitute an important drinking water source, support a large aquatic population, and are heavily used for outdoor recreation. The commission's purpose includes regulating land and water uses within the area to protect water quality, drinking water supplies, wildlife populations, flood storage areas, and the natural and scenic character of the adjacent lands. The priorities of the regulatory program include ensuring the reservoir drinking water quality that currently exists is preserved, maintaining the visual, scenic, and natural character that supports the region's tourist economy and maintains high-quality natural resource values, providing corridor towns with the information they need to make informed decisions concerning land use within the corridor, and striving to conserve and protect the unique characteristics of the Saco River Basin. The corridor includes lands up to 500 feet from the Saco, Ossipee, and Little Ossipee rivers, and up to 1,000 feet from the rivers in the 100-year floodplain, creating a larger corridor protection zone than provided with the shoreland zone. The corridor includes 20 towns in southern Maine. The commission includes 2 volunteer members for each town, and there are currently 32 commissioners on the board. Every town in the corridor except one has a commission representative. Many of the commissioners have been on the board for over 10 to 20 years or longer, with ample experience implementing the standards of the Act. Development projects within the corridor require a permit from the commission. This year, the commission spent over 100 volunteer hours reviewing 120 development applications at 30 commission meetings. Applications are put through an extensive review process, including site visits, staff, committee, and commission review. The commission considers extensive issues, including any potential harmful impacts to air, land, or water quality. Collaboration occurs between local code enforcement officers and other town officials. The commission fosters a high degree of community participation, and many different types of groups participate in commission proceedings. The commission has adopted the performance standards shown to carry out the purposes of the act, and we are in the process of revising some of these performance standards. An example of one of the many ways the act offers added land use protection includes the use of the 500-foot aggregate limit system. This standard requires each building in the limited residential district to have a combined river frontage and setback totaling 500 feet. This image shows an example of how this system works. For a property with 400 feet of frontage, your building would have to be at the minimum setback of 100 feet from the river, as shown in the general, and with 260 feet of frontage, a building setback of 240 feet from the water would be required. If not for the 500-foot aggregate limit system, houses could be lined up in a row at the minimum setback requirement of 100 feet from the water, as shown in the General Development District in Biddeford, and as allowed by the Maine DEP Chapter 1000 Shoreland Zoning Act. This image shows an example of the Commission's 500-foot aggregate limit system at work, which requires selective development at varying setback distances from the rivers, based on the amount of river frontage on each lot. This standard preserves as much vegetative buffer as possible to prevent increases to surface water runoff, erosion, the destruction of wildlife habitat, and ensures the preservation of the natural shoreline. The Act establishes 3 districts: the General Development District, Limited Residential District, and Resource Protection District, in order to ensure appropriate and balanced land use within each district. The Commission has a new ESRI ArcGIS map system that includes jurisdictional boundaries, zoning districts, FEMA flood maps, tax map parcel overlays, and sample site locations. The digital mapping system is available on the Commission's website for public use and has greatly increased the efficiency and ability of the Commission to work on these issues involving development matters. This is a close-up of the mapping system that shows the 500-foot SRCC jurisdictional buffer in yellow, the 1,000-foot buffer in orange, which includes areas in the 100-year floodplain. The red is the General Development District, and the green, the Resource Protection District. So the Commission also completed the 20th consecutive season of its water quality monitoring program this season. The program includes water quality sampling at 37 sites along the Saco, Ossipee, and Little Ossipee rivers, and is a joint program with Green Mountain Conservation Group, who monitors 28 sample sites in the Ossipee Lake watershed. The programs have over 30 volunteers who help staff collect water samples throughout the entire Saco River watershed. The main priorities of the monitoring program include generally characterize water quality and gather baseline data, understand the general condition of water in each designated area of the river, test to determine if degraded water quality exists, decide what further actions or investigation is needed to diagnose and solve problems, broaden the understanding of water quality in the community through outreach and education. And in conclusion, thank you for your continued support over the years and your service to the state. I'm happy to take any questions if there are any, and thank you so much for your time this morning. Sorry, Senator Brenner, you're on mute. Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, Dalen. Is it possible for you to end your screen share, please?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm sorry that I left you out to start with, and I just wanted to mention that our first 2 presentations are slightly longer. They are presentations that are given to us. I think what's the number of years between when you present?
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years. So every 2 years, the Saco River Corridor Commission and our next presenter, the Joint Environmental Training and Coordinating Committee, the New England Interstate Water Pollution Control Commission, will be presenting slightly longer presentations to us this round. And Representative Dudera has a question.
Thank you. actually just more of a comment. It's great to see the cooperation between all the towns and what you're achieving and monitoring. And one of my best memories from childhood was a family canoeing camping trip on the Saco River. So this is bringing back very nice memories. I'm really glad for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. And that's what we work to achieve. So thank you.
Yes, Senator Bennett.
Thank you. I have the privilege of representing a number of the towns in the commission there in Western Maine, from Freiburg down to Sebago. And it is a precious resource, the Saco River, for us in Western Maine, as across the whole state. And I just want to thank you for your excellent work. It's a critical resource, and it is vastly improved under the current management over the way that the river was used and abused in the past. And I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Senator. That means a lot. Thank you.
That was not my family abusing it. I just want to say that.
Dalen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Really appreciate it. Take care.
And now we're going to move on to Leanne Hansen.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can. Welcome.
Okay. Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me. I also have a screen share. If I can figure out how to do it in this format. Bear with me. Oh my goodness. I'm having difficulty here. I know I sent this to Dan and Sabrina as well.
Dan and Sabrina, do you guys have the capacity to screen share for Ms. Hansen and move through her slides? Oh, perfect. Dan's on it.
Oh, great. Great. Thank you. If I could just adjust my screen so I can see what's happening. I keep almost leaving the meeting.
And then Ms. Hansen, you'll just let Dan know when you'd like him to advance the slide.
Okay, yes. I'm just trying to see. Okay, well, I'm just going to go. I see it very small. And good morning, everybody. Good morning, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, esteemed members of the Environment and Natural Resources Committee. I'm Leanne Hansen, Program Manager and Training Coordinator for the Maine Joint Environmental Training Coordinating Committee. I'm a resident of Scarborough, and I've been working on the JETSI program for 29 years. If you could advance the slide, please. I appreciate this opportunity to introduce our program. I must say these slides got a little scrambled in the process of turning them into a PDF, so the alignment might be a little goofy. This is our mission statement. JETSI has served the citizens of Maine since 1985 by providing entry-level and continuing education training for Maine's licensed wastewater treatment plant operators. This training is regulated by the Maine Department of Environmental Protection and is legislatively mandated. Next slide, please. JETSI began as kind of a grassroots organization when the folks at Maine DEP and our trade association at the time, Maine Wastewater Control Association, and also a number of consultants in the industry realized that there was a need for training licensed wastewater operators that exceeded the capacity of DEP or our trade association. Next slide, please. They lobbied the legislature, and JETSI was created back in the early 80s. Here are some pictures of the type of training we do. Assisting Maine DEP, we're bringing laboratory, regulatory, and process training to the far corners of Maine at minimal cost to operators and municipalities. Next slide, please. With a budget of roughly $115,000 $100,000, JETSI organizes 25 to 30 training programs per year for Maine's water quality professionals. Among that group are 755 licensed wastewater treatment plant operators who are required to obtain 18 hours of continuing education every 2 years. Next slide, please. Our general fund allocation of $52,950 helps us meet those training goals. It anchors us in an office in South Portland with 2 full-time employees. It makes us available to assist DEP to meet other objectives, and it's leveraged immensely with fees charged to participants, as well as sponsorships and some other things that I will tell you about. I want to recognize those of you that were part of the 129th legislature who helped us increase our funding a couple years back. I've spoken to this committee many times over the years, and we appreciate all the support that you've given us. Next slide, please. JETSI's work is administered through a contract between Maine DEP and NUEPIC. This is part of the alphabet soup here. JETSI is a program partner of NUEPIC, and NUEPIC is a regional commission that helps the states of the Northeast preserve and advance water quality. NUEPIC is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. And of NUEPIC's 5 interconnected areas of focus, next slide, please, JETSI provides localized training and education for the professionals who protect Maine's environment and public health. JETSI training also benefits Maine's licensed drinking water operators who report to the Maine Department of Health and Human Services. JETSI operates with a board of directors appointed by Maine DEP. In the upper right-hand corner of that image, you'll see our board chairman, Travis Jones from Brewer, doing one of our new virtual training classes. Next slide, please. We rely upon over 100 professionals each year who volunteer their time to host and conduct educational programs for Maine's water and wastewater treatment plant operators. Our volunteers represent business, industry, municipalities, state agencies, and trade associations. Next slide, please. As a non-advocacy, service-oriented training organization, JETSI helps Maine DEP and other state agencies, as well as the trade associations with similar missions, combine resources. Next slide, please. Other training we do, because we're here to do the 25 to 30 classes a year, we are also able to do additional training. Along with those classes, for 11 consecutive years, we've run a management school. We're still in the midst of the 11th year. It was a little bit sidelined by COVID, but we will be reconvening in March. Every other year, we alternate between wastewater operator school and a North Country convention in Aroostook County. The wastewater operator school is to take entry level and maybe established operators that haven't had formal training. We give them an intensive 6-month, 12-session training program where they can meet those in charge of their respective positions and work. Next slide, please. Again, because we're here to do those basic 25 to 30 classes, we are available to DEP to assist with other items, such as the operator certification program. In 2006, DEP began contracting with us to administer the record keeping, testing, and communication for Maine's licensed treatment plant operators. Our work on this program is funded entirely by fees charged to operators and municipalities. We also contract through NUEPIC with Maine DEP's Non-Point Source Training Center to handle administrative tasks for the contractor certification program in erosion control. We're pleased to be part of 8 new on-demand virtual training programs for contractors to become certified in erosion control and also to work on their continuing education. Next slide, please. We hear a lot about aging infrastructure. We also have an aging workforce. JETSI's here to help as seasoned personnel retire and move on. In more than one instance, JETSI has been the keeper of institutional knowledge and assisted many facilities as their established personnel retires and new people come into the industry. These 3 gentlemen don't look very old, but between the 3 of them, they have about 100 years of experience, and the gentleman in the middle retired last spring. We are glad and we are grateful for the support from the state of Maine and the trust we're given through it and through our general fund allocation. Next slide, please. I'm really pleased to be here today. I appreciate all the work that you do and your confidence in letting us do the work that we do. I'm happy to answer any questions. I did throw in a couple additional slides if anybody wanted to know more about the management school or the wastewater operator school. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hanson. Very interesting. Representative Tucker has a question. Representative Tucker, you're muted.
I might have missed it in your presentation, Leanne, but how many wastewater operator positions do we have in the state of Maine?
Right now, we have 755.
And how many wastewater plants do we have?
Oh my goodness. I want to say, just wrote this down and didn't put it in my presentation, 163 municipal and quasi-municipal wastewater treatment plants.
And are you still facing that generational curve where all the people who started out in the 70s when these processes were set up following the Clean Water Act, all these people have now gone through their careers. Have they all exited yet? Are we all new people, or are we still got a bunch of old people there?
We have a nice balance. we are watching, as I was looking for pictures for this presentation, I have a lot of pictures of people who've retired. We're just making it with the new people coming in, filling the shoes of those that are leaving. But there's going to be an exodus in the next couple of years for sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm not seeing any. Ms. Hanson, thank you again so much. I appreciate hearing about your work.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
All right, so now what I was so eager to get started on before, mostly I think because of the collective anticipation of how well our system will work, we're going to move into our shorter introductions. So we're going to invite a handful of people into the Zoom space, Mr. Jeff Marks, Dan Bell, and Margaret Gorman. And Jeff will be first, followed by Dan, and then Margaret.
Thank you, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and members of the Environment and Natural Resources Committee.
Jeff, do you want to turn your video on so we can see you?
Sure, I can do that.
Oh,
thanks.
great.
You know, I either miss either the audio or video, so thank you for pointing that out. But wanted to thank the members of the committee. I'd also like to acknowledge and express my appreciation to Representative Dudera on the committee, who represents my organization's hometown of Rockport, Maine. And that organization is Acadia Center. We are a nonprofit research and advocacy organization. We're incorporated in Maine, as I mentioned, and we are committed to advancing the clean energy future by offering real-world solutions to the climate crisis. Although we're based here in Maine, we also have people throughout New England and in New York, because we take a look at these issues from a regional perspective as well as a state-by-state perspective. And there's a lot going on across the Northeast on these types of issues. So we tackle complex problems. We identify clear recommended solutions for reform, and we advocate to create significant change that supports this low carbon economy across the Northeast, and hopefully use that as a model for application elsewhere. The Acadia Center identifies different regional, state, and local improvements that will dramatically reduce carbon pollution and improve quality of life throughout the Northeastern US. And we work with many of the organizations that are on today at this meet and greet, both individually and through coalition advocacy and
I lost
outreach.
all these people. And I lost.
So we just want to be a resource for the committee and help you advance legislation to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and expand clean energy in Maine. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marks. And next is Daniel Bell.
Chairman Brenner, Chairman Tucker, and esteemed members of the committee, thank you very much for the opportunity to introduce our company today. And my name is Daniel Bell, and I am the co-founder and president of AgriCycle Energy. AgriCycle, along with its sister company, Exeter Agri-Energy, in Exeter, Maine, was commissioned in late 2011 and was Maine's first large-scale farm-based anaerobic digester. Exeter is co-located on Stonyvale Farms, a fifth-generation family-owned dairy that manages over 3,500 acres of croplands. Food waste and organic waste streams fueling the facility are supplied by AgriCycle. The food waste is combined with manure from the dairy farm and 3 independent vessels operating at approximately 100 degrees Fahrenheit and totaling 3 million gallons of treatment capacity. We capture the methane that would otherwise escape into the atmosphere and use that to make renewable energy. The renewable power is exported to the ISO New England grid under a 20-year fixed-rate power purchase contract administered through the Community Renewables Program. Exeter Agri-Energy is one of the premier farm-based anaerobic digesters in the nation, utilizing technologies from CH4 Biogas and Martin Energy Group. The 3-megawatt facility has one of the only commercial depackaging operations in New England and is capable of processing up to 80,000 tons per year of food waste while reutilizing the byproducts as animal bedding and nutrient-rich liquid fertilizer on the croplands. The packaging being removed from the organic waste stream is washed, pressed, dried, and sent back to waste to energy under a long-term partnership with EcoMaine. AgriCycle Energy, our logistics and hauling company, has expanded our collection efforts across Maine and the Northeast, operating a variety of route collection assets and long-haul assets in order to move food waste from our client locations to our host digester, as well as other digesters across the Northeast. We have client relationships throughout the region with exceptional organizations such as Hannaford, Walmart, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Colby College, Maine General, Amazon, Oakhurst, Tyson Foods, and many more. Maine is one of the only states in the Northeast that doesn't have any legislation regulating food waste being sent to landfills. We have been fortunate to partner with organizations that are committed to sustainability, but there is more that can be done as much of the state's food waste is still going into the trash. We have seen legislation have a significant impact around the amount of food waste being diverted from waste streams in other states that we work in and that have enacted food waste legislation. Food waste will always be present, and there will always be a need to dispose of that waste. As a state, we should be doing a better job of capturing that resource to create jobs and renewable energy right here at home. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. All right, and next is Ms. Gorman.
Thank you. Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Margaret Gorman. I am the Senior Director for the Northeast region for the American Chemistry Council. We're a national trade association. We're based in Washington, D.C. However, I cover the Northeast region, which we are based in Albany, New York, and upstate New York. I have 2 people that work with me in my office, Aaron DeSantis, and also Harry Hush as well. We actually have sites throughout Maine. Our member companies do. I invite all of you at some point this year to come into those sites, meet the employees. We've had tours in the past. Certainly could see what our member companies do as well. One thing that we were very involved with this year, our member companies, was the fight on COVID. Our members really stepped up to the plate, increasing supply lines for sanitizers, for face masks, for PPE equipment, increasing oxygen. So it's certainly something that they were heavily involved with this year. One thing that we want to be as a resource to the committee. I am frequently in Maine. I look forward to coming back at some point, hopefully this year. And certainly we do advocate for looking at the science, making sure all sides are looked at, balancing risk when looking at legislation. But thank you again for having me this morning, and certainly look forward to working with all of you as we go forward in 2021.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gorman. Okay, so now we will move on to the next three folks and bring them into the room. Matt Marks, Jake Cassidy, and Holly Lusk. And Matt Marks, you're up first, and then Jake, and then Ms. Lusk. I'm not sure if I see Matt, so it might be you, Jake. Go for it.
Sure, thank you. Hopefully he gets on. But Chair Brenner, Chair Tucker, and committee members, good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Jacob Cassidy, or Jake as I also go by. I'm the Director of Government Relations at the Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers, or AHAM. AHAM represents 150 companies that include manufacturers of major portable and floor care appliances and their suppliers. In the US, AHAM members support more than 1 million jobs, have a $1 billion economic impact, and produce more than 95% of household appliances that are shipped for sale. Within Maine, the appliance industry is a significant critical segment of the economy, where total economic impact of the home appliance industry is about $430 million. With more than 1,400 direct jobs that provide $130 million in total wages, $65 million in state tax revenue as well. I wanted to make sure I kept my remarks brief and just give you a high-level overview of who we are. But thank you for this opportunity, and please know that I'm here to serve as a reference, answer any questions or concerns you might have.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Cassidy. And it looks like Mr. Marks did make it into the room.
I did. Thank you. Sorry, I got bounced out for a second there. Yeah, I had a chance last week to obviously to provide some insight on the our involvement on the Climate Council, but I just wanted to provide an overview of some of the other things that we do at AGC Maine. We have an organization of commercial contractors, and so that means pretty much anything that gets built in Maine is touched by our folks. So we also train about 800 contractors a year, and for your all information, I think would be important to know that some of those classes, and I made a list. We teach soil and erosion control, which is part of every project. So our folks go through that training class and they become certified. We partner with DEP to make sure that that training is done. We do excavation training specific to excavation practices, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what that means as far as site control. Obviously, it does include some soil erosion control factors as well. We've held the Stream Smart classes here. If you're not familiar with that, Audubon and a bunch of other environmental folks and engineers put together a class to try to help contractors, but also municipalities, make sure that when we are installing any kind of structure, but specifically culverts, that allows a stream to be a stream. So we often host that here. Initially we did that in the beginning quite a bit and encouraged people to attend, and we still host that every couple of years. And we also teach a hazardous materials class. So our folks are trained to respond to any hazardous materials incident that happens, which as you can imagine requires our excavating folks and folks hauling those materials to be prepared to do that. And we do a hazardous communication class as well. So the hazardous communication class is covering all kinds of chemicals that our folks would touch, and we train that class and we prepare everybody for that every year. We have a dedicated committee for environment within our organization. And looks like we're coming up here on time. I'll send a letter with the other stuff, but what I really wanted you to take away is that construction has adapted a lot. We're using more recycled materials. We're screening stuff on site. We're even using spray bark mulch to apply it better and evenly without using heavier equipment. So we're trying to avoid those things. So if there's anything else I can ever answer, I can just tell you we're building a lot of renewables from south to north and trying to find new and innovative ways to make energy use more efficient.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marks.
You got it.
And Ms. Lusk.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Holly Lusk. I'm a lawyer in Harpswell, Maine. I'm an administrative lawyer, which means that I represent clients in front of Maine's state agencies, especially our licensing boards. This time of year, a lot of my work is spent representing clients in front of the legislature, and I anticipate representing 2 clients in front of you this year. The first is the Consumer Brands Association, which is an association that represents companies who produce consumer packaged goods. So think of, any of the goods that you would see in your local Hannaford. I still want to call it Shop and Save, but it's Hannaford. So think of those goods. Some of our members include the companies that own B&M Baked Beans in Portland and Tom's of Maine in Kennebunk. So we look forward to working with you on issues of recycling and packaging. I'm sure you'll hear more from CBA further on in the next segment. I also look forward to talking with you about issues related to the corridor. I'll be working for Mainers for Local Power this session, which advocates for smart policies relating to all large energy projects. Obviously, most of the corridor work will go through EUT, but I think at least one of those bills will be headed to your committee. So I look forward to talking with you then. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Holly. All right, I'm wondering, is Jeff McBurney? Is that, I see Sabrina, I see a gentleman with Sabrina's name attached, and I'm wondering if that's our next. Nope.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about that. It just popped up.
So Jeff McBurney, Tony King, and Caitlin Kelly O'Neill. All right, Jeff.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, distinguished members of the Joint Standing Committee on Environment and Natural Resources. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce you to Casella Resource Solutions. I'm Jeff McBurney, Director of Compliance. Resource Solutions is Casella's opportunity to rebrand. So we've combined our divisions of Customer Resource Solutions, Recycling, and Organics into a larger group. The mission of Solutions is to provide comprehensive services for managing waste streams that may be produced by municipalities, institutions, commercial businesses, and industries. While we're primarily focused in the Northeast, we actually provide services across the country. In Maine, we have relationships with many municipalities, local businesses of all sizes, school districts, universities, colleges, and large industrial customers. Our interests before the committee will include things such as the support enhancement of the solid waste hierarchy, extended producer responsibility, climate change and sustainability, source reduction of contaminants of emerging concern, and finally, identification of alternative recycling outlets, for example, ground recycled glass and biosolids compost in road construction projects. Solutions has responsibility for 9 material recovery facilities, also called MRFs, and 2 biosolids processing facilities. 2 of those MRFs and the compost facility are located in Maine. 20% of our roughly 250 employees are based here in Maine, receiving good paying jobs with comprehensive benefits. The community is invited to visit any of our facilities to get a better understanding of the services we do provide, understanding that, of course, in this day of COVID, We can't accommodate large groups, but we certainly can make accommodations for 4 to 6 members. In addition, we have many knowledgeable people on staff that are willing and able to offer insight and technical expertise of legislation that may be coming before you. So with that, I thank you for sharing your time. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thanks so much, Jeff. All right, and next we have Tony King. Welcome, Tony.
Good morning, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and esteemed members of the committee. My name is Tony King, and I'm the Region Engineer for Casella Waste Systems. At Casella, our mission is to protect the environment, strengthen communities, and create value from society's waste streams. As we reflect on the past year, I know that our essential workers have kept our communities safer and healthier. Casella is the backbone of Maine's solid waste management system, and with a number of different types of facilities, we're able to provide a suite of integrated solutions. We engage with virtually all of Maine's solid waste facilities, and we operate the state-owned landfill in Old Town. Our sustainability goals and climate initiatives are aligned with those of the state of Maine. We were recognized by the EPA for reducing our total greenhouse gas emissions by 45% by 2010. Our new 2030 target is an additional 40% below our 2010 levels. And with that, I'd like to introduce Shelby Wright, our new Manager of Engagement.
Hello, members of the committee. My name is Shelby Wright. I am privileged to be able to speak for the third session in a row on environmental issues in front of your committee. And I am an environmentalist that happens to talk trash for a living. Casella employs approximately 500 environmentalists like me statewide that provide Maine with a recycling and solid waste infrastructure that it is vital to our modern society as the roads and the bridges on which we drive. You know, waste is an inevitable consequence of today's consumer society. And I personally look forward to talking with you about the industry, but most importantly, working with you on thoughtful and collaborative recycling and solid waste management policy that can support the industry and also protect the environment. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Caitlin Kelly O'Neill. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Caitlin Kelly O'Neill, and I am the Northeast Regional Director for the Coalition for Community Solar Access. First, I'd like to thank the members of the committee and their staff for taking the time to organize these introductions today. It's a pleasure to get to know you all, and I look forward to working with you on a wide variety of environmental related issues this year. CCSA is a national coalition of businesses and nonprofits working to expand customer choice and access to solar for all American households and businesses through community solar. Our mission is to empower every American energy consumer with the option to choose local, clean, and affordable community solar. We work with customers, utilities, local stakeholders, and policymakers to develop and implement policies and best practices that ensure community solar programs provide a win-win-win for all, starting with the customer. CCSA's members are currently working diligently to serve the residents of Maine pursuant to the programs established in LD 1711, passed in 2019. Residents and businesses in Maine are now and will continue to benefit from an easy choice to participate in the growing Maine solar market, as community solar allows them to benefit from the growth of solar, even if they cannot install their own solar panels. We recognize the importance of siting, planning, transparency, and equity as the solar market continues to grow. Open communication between all stakeholders is the best way to achieve a successful policy. So please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions on the solar market in Maine. Again, thank you for allowing me to introduce myself and CCSA to you today, and I look forward to continuing to work towards a very bright future for Maine.
Thank you, Caitlin. All right, and next is Sean Mahoney. Welcome, Sean.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair Brenner and Chair Tucker and members of the committee. Greetings from Falmouth, Maine.
I'm the Executive Vice President of the Conservation Law Foundation. We have our office in Portland, but I'm talking to you from my barn. And we are a regional organization. We've got about 6 attorneys here in Maine and about 30 across New England. We are a group of environmental advocates and have been in Maine since the late 1980s and in New England since the late 60s. We obviously come before the legislature on certain issues, primarily before your committee and the EUT committee. We're also before the administrative agencies like the Board of Environmental Protection and the Public Utilities Commission. Our principal focus is on climate change and on protecting and preserving the unique environment here in Maine and across New England. I will tell you, I had the pleasure of being in the Sadnahook this weekend up in Baxter State Park, and it was absolutely beautiful. It wasn't -10, Representative Johansson, but it was pretty darn cold on Saturday, and that's for sure. We're looking forward to working with you all on the issues that are going to be before you this coming session, particularly on the climate action plan legislation that'll be coming, Representative Ziegler's bill on green banks, as well as some of the solid waste issues that some others have mentioned. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks so much for your service.
Thank you so much, Sean.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You as well. And next up, we have Sarah Woodbury. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. Good morning, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and other members of the Environment and Natural Resources Committee. My name is Sarah Woodbury. I'm a native Mainer, born in Skowhegan, and currently living in South Portland. I am the Director of Advocacy for Defend Our Health, previously known to some of you as the Environmental Health Strategy Center. Defend Our Health is a nonprofit environment and public health organization that believes that all people have the right to safe food, drinking water, healthy homes, and products that are toxic-free and climate-friendly. We do this in a variety of different ways, including advocating before the legislature, the administration, and state agencies for policies that protect all people from toxic chemicals. We work with coalition partners, retailers, manufacturers for safer products, and we educate people in the community on the dangers of these chemicals and how to kind of work around them. Some of our past legislative successes have included the Kid Safe Product Act. We helped create the first in the nation ban on toxic chemical flame retardants in upholstered furniture. Last session, we worked with many of you on the Zoom to pass legislation to phase out the use of toxic PFAS and phthalates in food packaging. This legislative session, Defend Our Health will be working on a suite of bills to address the issue of PFAS contamination across the state. We are working with Representative Gramlich and Representative Kluker on several different bills that will help protect Mainers from exposure to toxic PFAS, including legislation that would phase out the use of PFAS in non-essential products. This particular bill is part of a slate of bills designated as a priority bill by the Environmental Priorities Coalition, and we are pleased that the EPC recognizes the importance of this issue. I look forward to working with all of you. I'm here to be a resource, answer any questions, and hope to engage on this issue going forward. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Woodbury. And Mr. Costa, I'm so sorry I skipped you, but it's not because I don't want to hear from you.
That's quite all right. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Chairman Brenner, thank you. And Chairman Tucker, other members of the committee, thanks for affording us this time today. My name is Greg Costa. I'm the Senior Director of State Affairs, representing the Consumer Brands Association across the Northeast. The Consumer Brands Association began our 112-year history as the Grocery Manufacturers Association, and some in the legislature might remember some of our work under that name. And it's been since last year that we were rebranded to demonstrate the growing reach of the industry. We represent the consumer packaged goods industry with more than 1,700 brands that most of which you know. From household products to personal care products to food and beverage products, our industry contributes $2 trillion to the gross domestic product of the country and supports more than 20 million American jobs, including many right in the state of Maine. We expect that we'll be coming before the committee during this session to discuss issues of sustainability, recycling, packaging, and it could be others. And so I just wanted to take a minute and put myself in front of you. I've had done some work in the committee last year and in years past, but look forward to working with all of you again as you begin the session. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Costa. And next up, we have Mr. Mason, Garrett Mason.
Thank you, Senator Brenner. Representative Tucker, member of the committee. First off, I just want to say thank you for your service. As somebody who's sat in those chairs before, be it in the State House rather than where you are right now, but I know what a lot of work this is, and I can't imagine how much you guys are going through to have to adapt to what you're adapting to right now. So thank you for your service and for giving us the opportunity to chat with you today. As the senator said, my name is Garrett Mason, and I am a partner at Dirigo Partners. We're based out of Cumberland. We're a public relations and advocacy firm, and we represent a bunch of clients, including a few that will be coming to you and talking to you about things over the course of the next few years. You've already heard from Jake Cassidy today, who is with AHAM, the Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers. We are their statewide council. So when you don't see Jake, you'll probably see me chatting about everything from dishwashers to stoves and everything in between. We also represent the Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration Institute. Their issues in front of you. We'll talk a lot about hydrofluorocarbons, a word that I just recently learned how to say. We'll be talking about things like that and different refrigeration issues and how we can move towards more sustainable substances and the things that make us comfortable in our homes every day. At Dirigo, we also represent the Associated Builders and Contractors of Maine. We represent the Maine chapter. We are over 180 businesses strong. We represent thousands of employees. I'm sure we represent employees and companies that are in all of your districts. And we'll come and chat with you about a variety of things, including erosion and different building codes and whatnot. So once again, thank you for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions for you offline. Feel free to email me or text me or call me at any time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mason. All right, and next up is Ed Spencer. Mr. Spencer, welcome.
Hello, good morning, Chair Brenner, Chair Tucker, and members of the committee. I'm Ed Spencer. I'm Vice Chair of Don't Waste Maine, which is a coalition of people affected by landfill, incinerator, and waste disposal operations across the state. We've been organizing as a group for about 5 years, but many of us have been active for over 15 years around these vital issues. We've had a front row seat to what's been going on, and we'd like to see policies that are consistent with Maine's statutory solid waste hierarchy. Right now, unlike other states that have tightened their laws, Maine is hundreds of thousands of tons a year of out-of-state waste. We're even getting plastic shipped from Northern Ireland, as we've recently discovered when plastic waste spilled into Penobscot Bay. We're working to see that waste imported from out of state does not wind up in state-owned landfill, that industry players are not gaming the system, and also to ensure that the long-term capacity of our state-owned landfill at Juniper Ridge is not jeopardized by practices to the state waste industry. We have a very active website, which is don'twasteme.org. If you leave out, you get there a lot quicker. And we also worked with Sunlight Media Collective to produce a video about Juniper Ridge and its impact on the surrounding area, which is on the website, and I hope you'll check them out. Last year, we submitted a hearing before and success, in that we got some additional rules on environmental justice applied to solid waste facilities. So we're working with other environmental groups and to help reduce waste, keep it out of our landfills, and protect Maine from continuing to be the dumping ground for New England and the world. We've got a bill which you'll be hearing about, and we also plan to submit testimony on multiple other bills related to this. So with that, thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to working with you in the near future.
Thank you so much, Mr. Spencer. And next we have Joanna. I'm going to need help with your name. Joanna. Whoops, you're on mute.
All right, here I am. Good morning, Chairs Brenner and Tucker and esteemed committee members. I am Joanna Taranjo, an attorney at Drummond Woodsum. I hope that you'll feel free to call me Joanna, but if you feel the need to be more formal, just remember that Taranjo is Toronto with a Joe instead of a toe. I was born in Ellsworth and raised on MDI, which, although it's not in any of your districts, I hope we can all agree is another contender for one of the loveliest places in Maine. As a testament to the follies of youth, I then went to Washington, D.C. for 10 years to get my education. It appears to have smartened me up at least a little bit because I made it back to Maine in 2000 to the lovely cities of Portland and South Portland, where I have been representing clients in obtaining solutions to their environmental problems since 2000. This session, I or some of my partners from Drummond Woodsum expect to be before you on several issues, including representation of our tribal nation clients for some DEP procedural legislation, and for some clients who are in opposition to the CMP NECEC line. I look forward to working with you this session, and I thank you very much for your time this morning, and it's wonderful. The upside of Zoom, for me anyway, is that it's delightful to be able to see everyone's faces when I am otherwise locked in my office or home. So thank you for your time and your service.
Thank you, Joanna. And William Ferdinand.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Bill Ferdinand. I'm a lawyer with Eaton Peabody. Eaton Peabody is a full-service law firm, and we have a very active environmental, land use, and real estate practices. So you may bump into us one way or another throughout the state for other reasons, but I lead the legislative practice for the firm. Nate Cloutier, and we have Clem Cook, who's on contract with us as well, helping us with some of our clients this year. I live in Brunswick. Representative Tucker is my representative. And I've been involved with state government and policy since 1992, so maybe close to 30 years. And the clients that, we have a number of clients that we represent in the legislature, but the ones that we're going to be working with that will be before you, the American Council of Engineering Companies, which are the engineering companies throughout Maine. Is a national organization, but it's a trade group of those companies, and they have a Maine chapter. The Maine Forest Products Council, which represents all the industries from loggers to manufacturers in the forest products industry. In the transportation sector, Maine Better Transportation Association, which are the companies that are involved with construction of transportation infrastructure. The Maine Transit Association, which are the transit organizations throughout the state. In the housing sector, Maine Affordable Housing Coalition, which are they build affordable housing and build and finance. The Maine Real Estate Managers Association, which manages affordable housing units throughout the state. On the electric side, I represent ISO New England, which runs the power grid for New England. So we're going to be very interested in a lot of the legislation that you have, especially the climate action plan, because it affects all those clients that I just mentioned. So look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ferdinand. All right, and next we have Kevin Roach from Eco Maine. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and distinguished members of the Environment and Natural Resources Committee. I appreciate the opportunity to introduce you to EcoMaine if you don't know much about us as of yet. Again, my name is Kevin Roach. I've served as the general manager for EcoMaine for over 15 years. We are a quasi-municipal organization with over 70 member communities in the state of Maine. We own and operate a recycling facility, a single sort recycling facility, a food waste recovery program, a waste to energy facility, and a landfill. I think that our mission statement best describes us. EcoMaine provides comprehensive, long-term solid waste solutions in a safe, environmentally responsible, economically sound manner, and is a leader in raising public awareness of sustainable waste management strategies. When it comes to safety, we are OSAS 18001 certified, which is the highest safety certification available in our industry. This safety certification is proof of our safety record and ensures that our communities, as well as our employees, that their safety remains our highest priority. When it comes to our environmental record, we maintain an ISO 14001 certification. This standard is what keeps us on an elevated environmental platform. But really what makes us stand apart is the final piece of our mission statement, and that is being a leader in raising public awareness of sustainable waste management strategies. This is what connects us to our residents and our businesses and our communities. They know us and they trust us to do the right thing when it comes to managing their waste. When we talk about waste management strategies in our mission, no other waste management strategy over the last 30 years has been more successful in diverting waste away from our landfills as recycling has been. And that remains the case today, despite the negative stories that we've seen recently on recycling. More than a third of our waste is actually recycled today, and there's lots of room for improvement. Solid waste management is at a critical juncture in New England. In Southern New England, landfills are closing rapidly. Massachusetts and Connecticut last year shipped over 1 million tons to Ohio. That's a lot of waste. Maine and New Hampshire still have their landfills open, and we need to preserve that space as best as we can. The pressure for tons to drift north is ever increasing, just like this nor'easter headed our way tonight. But unlike this storm, better policy will reduce the mountains of trash that we are accumulating in our landfills in the state of Maine. Landfills are a forever proposition that future generations will have to deal with forever. Fortunately, we have alternatives and we don't have to wait. Better policy will help divert the rush to fill our landfills tomorrow and in the years to come. Good policy and execution can and will have immediate impacts. And that's where you come in, supporting policies that are less filling. Thank you again for this opportunity. You can visit us on our website, www.ecomaine.org, and I look forward to working with you in the months ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roche. And Mr. Stoddard, welcome.
Morning. Thanks for having us and for this opportunity. My name is Michael Stoddard. I'm the Executive Director of the Efficiency Maine Trust and also an attorney by training. Efficiency Maine is an independent quasi-state agency. We were established by statute in 2009 and started activities July of 2010. So we're just over 10 years old. We have a stakeholder board of trustees that governs and oversees our activities. And we also are regulated by the Public Utilities Commission. As you may know, we are primarily known for running programs to promote energy conservation and alternative energy systems and things that will reduce greenhouse gases cost effectively. We focus on activities that are on the customer's side of the meter, not on the grid or the utilities side of the meter. So whatever's going on in your home or your business or your school or your factory, whatever's happening on that side of the meter is where our programs are active. We have a suite of programs that we offer, and I would just quickly list them off so you're aware, and you should feel free to call me anytime or email me or check out our website at efficiencymaine.com. But we have targeted programs, 1 for large manufacturers, 2 for all other commercial and non-residential buildings like schools and offices. This is lights and air conditioners and refrigeration systems and heating systems. We have a special small business initiative. We have a pair of initiatives that reach customers where they buy things, whether it's at the retail stores like the hardware store that you shop to get your lights or other equipment, or whether it's through the supply houses where the contractors go to do the shopping. We have the Home Energy Savings Program, which you would know for providing weatherization and heat pumps and other kinds of heating systems for your constituents. We have the low income initiatives. We dedicate 10% of our budgets to programs to promote low income customers. We have 2 electric vehicle initiatives. One is to expand the network of publicly available charging stations in the state, and another is to provide rebates on the purchase of qualifying electric vehicles. And last but not least, we have loan programs, one for residential customers doing weatherization and heating system upgrades, and another for small businesses doing lighting and heat pump projects. And that's the programs that we offer. We're a small team of about 20 folks working up the street from the Capitol, and look forward to working with you during the year.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stoddard. And Anya Fetcher is next. Welcome, Anya.
Hi, thank you so much. Good morning, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself and my organization today. My name is Anya Fetcher. I'm the State Director for Environment Maine. Environment Maine is a statewide nonprofit, citizen-based environmental advocacy organization. We work to protect the places in Maine that we love, promote the environmental values we share, such as clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, and clean energy to power our lives. And we win tangible improvements in the quality of our environment and our lives. Environment Maine's mission is to transform the power of our ideas into change that makes our world a greener and healthier place for all. And we represent our thousands of members across the state who share our belief that there is something special about Maine, something that is worth protecting. Our staff research the challenges confronting our environment and advocate for solutions. Through research reports, media work, webinars, and trainings, we educate the public about what's at stake and what can be done. Our organizers meet people where they are. In past years, we may have actually knocked on your door, though these days we're more online. But we work to raise awareness and recruit new supporters and activists every day to join the movement. Some of Environment Maine's priorities this legislative session include continuing Maine's progress toward a zero waste community by implementing extended producer responsibility for packaging. We hope to help to pass legislation which aligns with the Maine Climate Action Plan to reduce pollution and carbon emissions and slow global warming. And also, we are excited to help protect wildlife and Maine's natural spaces by doing things like stopping the use of bee-killing pesticides and funding the Land for Maine's Future program. I look forward to working with all of you, and I would love to offer myself and Environment Maine up as a resource to any of you. Please feel free to reach out at any time. My email is afetcher@environmentmaine.org. So thank you again, all of you, for your time, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fetcher. And next up, we have Ivy Frignoka.
Frignoka, yes. Good
Great,
morning,
welcome.
everyone. My name's Ivy Frignoka, and I am the Casco Bay Keeper with Friends of Casco Bay. And as Bay Keeper, I'm kind of like the Lorax for the Bay. I speak on behalf of the Bay. My organization's mission is to improve and protect the environmental health of the Bay. We probably have the largest data set for a part of the coast in Maine. We've been collecting water quality data for about 30 years, and we have added continuous monitoring in the last 5 years. We use our science to inform our advocacy. Some of the roles that I'm currently playing are I'm serving on the Coastal and Marine Working Group of the Maine Climate Council. I'm on the steering committee of the Maine Ocean and Coastal Acidification Partnership, and our organization is a member of the Environmental Priorities Coalition. We expect to be before the Environment and Natural Resources Committee this year to address climate change as quickly as possible. And some of the real priorities we see are that we must reform our existing coastal land use laws and the way we do comprehensive planning to incorporate current science projections regarding sea level rise and the other consequences of climate change. So we expect to be supporting Representative Bloom's bill. We're very intrigued by Representative Tucker's bill on DEP reform and the governor's sea level rise bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Brignacca. And next up, we have Ron Huber. Welcome, Ron.
Well, welcome. It's Senator Brunner, Representative Tucker, other distinguished members of the committee. I'm Ron Huber, Friends of Penobscot Bay. We're an affiliate of the Waterkeeper Alliance, not a full Waterkeeper Alliance, though. But one thing the Alliance does emphasize is diversity, including how waterkeeper groups carry out their missions. The basic fundamental is, are you making the waters fishable, swimmable, and drinkable? Well, our role in Penobscot Bay is to recognize and respond to the needs of the numerous ad hoc community environmental groups. They rise and fall in towns around Penobscot Bay and up the river too. They rise up to address local development and waste discharge initiatives. And then after the fight, they dissolve, their mission completed, back to their lives. So we help those groups by helping with FOIAs, with media contacts, documenting their public hearings, with supplying them with the history of other towns that face the same sort of thing. And we archive a lot and make those available. What we're urging the committee to consider, though, are look forward and look back. The forward one is this waste spill by the vessel Cider London revealed a great deal about the inadequate condition of state and local emergency pollution response when it comes to solid plastic waste. Unhappily, according to the Basel Action Network, the it has become a global commodity, plastic waste, and in fact, the production expected to triple over the next few decades. Now, as events showed in Searsport last November, plastic waste, even if it's retermed by DEP as solid recovered fuel, it's a hazardous material. Well, the spill happened 2 months ago. We continue to find these bright red, blue, and yellow plastic bits washing up in Searsport Harbor. Now, tomorrow, that vessel, the Cider London, returns to the U.S. after another European trash pickup run in Italy, Spain, and France. Is Maine on their itinerary? We hope not, but at this point, the companies don't even need to notify states of the waste they're bringing. Now, a look back, and that is on sea level rise. During the 19th century, much of the 20th, hundreds of businesses operated along our coast and river shores with very little concern for the waste products they produced. Now, frequently their pollution solution, dig a pit, dump it in, fill it with soil and cap it. Now, flash forward to the present, we find many of these did get dug out and moved, but not all, not even a majority. Now, we urge the committee to ask Maine DEP to work with the Climate Council to map those historic waste pits, revisit those that would be submerged first by sea level rise, and dig out those that need moving. We think cleanups of those should be a priority before they become submerged and start leaking out waste for the next century or two. Bad for wild fish, caged fish, even tank farmed salmon. And as you've heard before there, I really think it's imperative that Maine becomes waste import unfriendly. Let's have no more of it trucked across the border, offloaded at Maine ports. Other nations, even developing nations, are no longer accepting these plastic wastes. And since the US is dragging its feet, we can expect. Time to go?
It is.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. And next up is Scott DeFeef. Welcome, Scott.
Yes, thank you, Chair Brenner and Chair Tucker and esteemed members of the committee. I'm Scott DeFeef, sorry. I'm the president of the Glass Packaging Institute, which is the National Trade Association of the manufacturers for glass containers, jars, and our entire supply chain. I am talking to you from our Zoom headquarters in Arlington, Virginia. So sorry that we couldn't be in person, but it affords us the opportunity to make a presentation. And we look forward, me and my family look forward to being up in your beautiful state again soon, as we have many summers in the past. Prior to my work at the Glass Packaging Institute, I did work for the National Conference of State Legislatures, working with and for Carl and Sally Tubesing for quite some time, many of your former colleague. We very much appreciate the work that you do. As to policies, it's important to remember that Maine has one of the strongest bottle bills in the country. You're one of 10 states that produce the highest quality glass for glass container recycling. Making new bottles and jars requires recycled glass, and that good, clean, high quality material has good end markets in the region, and we look to strengthen the end markets as well. So about 80%, because you have wine and spirits in addition to the rest of your glass, your beverage containers, almost 75 to 80% of the glass is flowing through the bottle bill system. So we'd like to work with you on capturing that remaining food jar glass that may be at the curbside, and work with you on EPR, packaging legislation, and anything else that relates to glass recycling. Thank you.
Moving on to Nancy Smith.
Good morning, Chairman Brenner, Chair Tucker, and members of the committee. Thank you for this chance to introduce myself and my organization. I am a resident of Monmouth and have been Executive Director of Grow Smart Maine since 2010. Prior to that, I've been a forester, a farmer, and a legislator. I served on the Business Committee from 2002 to 2010, 3 terms as House Chair, and on Ag Conservation and Forestry for 2 terms. Grow Smart Maine is a statewide nonprofit, and since 2003, our mission has been building lasting prosperity without sacrificing the quality of life that defines Maine. We support communities in managing change through advocacy, events, and community engagement. Also, in 2019, we earned the designation as Maine's Rural Development Council through the USDA Office of Rural Development. This session, there are many proposals to consider, and we're focusing on housing choices, transportation, equity, and broadband. Of particular relevance to this committee, I'll likely be speaking to you regarding land use regulation and climate action. With the time I have this morning, I also want to talk with you about some other priorities outside of this committee that you'll be seeing in the bodies where you serve that also relate to the intersection of the environment with community and economy. First off, our priority of extending the sunset on the historic preservation tax credit. The reuse of existing buildings is about the greenest construction process you can have, particularly when you compare it with demolition and new construction. Secondly, we're working with Senator Vitelli on a bill addressing barriers to housing choices, defining local, regional, statewide regulatory barriers and how to address them. And finally, through the Broadband Coalition, which is 1,600 strong, and I serve on the advisory committee and the policy committee, we're working with your own Senator Bennett on a bill for a $100 million bond to support broadband infrastructure. I hope you'll join the Broadband Coalition, look at speed testing, and take part in the Broadband Legislative Caucus. I've sent an email to your committee clerk with details and links to all this. And again, thank you for the work you do and for the opportunity to talk with you all this morning.
Thank you so much, Ms. Smith. And next up, we have Greg Dougal. Welcome, Greg.
I'm sorry about that. I thought there were a couple names ahead of me.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Senator.
We're missing a few folks. So if you're in the, what do we call it? I don't want to call it the holding pen, but well, what's that room that you hang out in called on Zoom before you get it? The waiting room. So not the holding pen. Okay. Anyway, there's a few folks that we can't seem to find. So I don't know if you're either if you don't have your proper name listed, or so we can circle back to you at the end if we miss you, or plug you in the middle. But thank you so much, Mr. Dougal.
Thank you. Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, distinguished members of the Environment and Natural Resources Committee. My name is Greg Dougal, and I am a resident of Lincolnville, and I work with Hospitality Maine. I am a constituent of Representative Ziegler's, a former co-worker with Representative Dudera, and that was an honor for sure. Hospitality Maine was formed back in 2018 by merging the Maine Restaurant Association and the Maine Innkeepers Associations. At one time, I was president and CEO of both, and I have since taken a role as government affairs director since 2016. We have over 1,000 members in both the restaurant and lodging industries, and dozens of affiliated allied members or vendors serving the hospitality industry. I worked for 20 years in hospitality and served on the board of the Restaurant Association as a volunteer and chair of that board when I worked at the Samoset Resort. This is my 21st year, believe it or not, working in the Chamber Trade Association world, and I'm honored to be able to work with you all as legislators. It gets tough sometimes, but it never gets old, and we truly appreciate your service to our great state, whether we agree or disagree. Recently, I served on the Ports, Marine Transportation, and Working Waterfront Subcommittee of the Maine Climate Council with Representative Bloom, but was unfortunately pulled away from that process, when COVID-19 hit our industry hard. It'll be quite a while before our industry fully recovers. The restaurant industry was off 27% through November of 2020. Versus 2019, and the lodging was off 37%. It will be impossible for many hospitality businesses to survive, and many have closed permanently already. We very much support the ideal of being good stewards of our environment, because that environment is what draws visitors to our state and makes our industry successful. We are willing to have that discussion every time, although ultimately we may choose to disagree. Thanks for giving us all the time today to present. It's important that we all get to know each other, especially with the limited interaction placed upon us by the pandemic. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dougal. And it looks like Ms. Hart has joined us, so let's circle back around. You're on mute.
There I am. Sorry, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and members of the ENR committee. My name is Deborah Hart. I own Hart Public Policy. I'm one of the 30 plus club of people that have been lobbying in front of the state legislature. I will be before you this year with a couple of clients. One would be Hannaford Supermarkets. They have issues related to, they'll be looking at the packaging bill certainly, and certainly bottle bill issues. I also represent Wine Institute, which is over 1,000 California wineries. They also are interested in product stewardship bills and obviously have a big stake in the bottle bill. And my last client that I may be in front of you before, although I haven't necessarily identified anything, is the Dirigo Electric Cooperative Companies. I know Representative Dudera, we have worked with her in the past. These are the main consumer-owned electric utilities. Most of their work is in front of the EUT committee, but once in a while, we have something that comes over to your committee. So I thank you for your time this morning, and thank you for plugging me in. I was rushing trying to get home so that I could introduce. I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you so much. We're glad you could make it.
Thank you.
And moving on to, let's see, do we have Tony Buxton? Do we see? I don't know if we, Sharon Treat, I think will be next. Welcome, Ms. Treat.
Good morning, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and members of the committee. Thank you for this opportunity to introduce myself and the organization that I work for. I am Sharon Treat. I live and work in Hollowell, where I am right now, and I am senior attorney for the Institute for Agriculture and Trade Policy. IATP is a small nonprofit organization headquartered in Minneapolis, Minnesota, but we have staff working not only from Maine, but also Washington, D.C., Berlin, Germany, and even Canada. For more than 30 years, IATP has worked for fair and environmentally sustainable food, farm, and trade systems. We do this through policy analysis and targeted advocacy at the local, national, and international levels. Much of our work overlaps with environmental issues that this committee has an interest in, including climate policy. For the past year and a half, we have focused some of our attention on PFAS contamination, an environmental and public health threat that is becoming increasingly significant both in this state and the rest of the country. As I did last session, I'll be appearing before the committee on PFAS legislation. I also wanted to mention my role as a member of Maine's Citizen Trade Policy Commission, where I represent environmental organizations. I also serve on the federal committee that advises the U.S. Trade Representative on state and local government issues. Increasingly, free trade agreements have provisions that have enabled multinational corporations to challenge or threaten to challenge environmental policies, including banning MTB in gasoline, regulation of aquaculture, and most recently, policies concerning plastics and plastic waste. IATP staff are internationally recognized as experts on trade policy, and these are issues that I have researched and written about extensively. If we can be of assistance to brief the committee on trade policy issues, please feel free to call on me. There are also extensive materials on our website on trade agreements, climate policy, and PFAS. And in the handout that I have shared with Sabrina to share with you, I've provided links to our website and my contact information. Again, I really thank you for this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to working with the committee in the months ahead.
Thank you so much, Sharon. All right, and we're going to circle back to Tony Buxton. Welcome, Tony. There you are. And you'll want to turn your video on if it's working.
It is, but I'm not. And the question is how I do that with you. Well, let me work on that as I talk and I'll waste your time.
Down on the bottom, you'll see a little icon that says Start Video, and you can click on that in the bottom left-hand corner.
Okay. I don't think it's starting video. Well, can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Good, thanks. I'll go ahead. Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, members of the committee. I'm Tony Buxton from Freddie Flaherty, representing today the Industrial Energy Consumer Group, which is a trade association of Maine manufacturers and others, which focus primarily on energy issues. We typically appear before the Utilities Committee, but some last session and certainly a lot this session, we will appear significantly before you as you consider what you would call climate legislation. The purpose of my appearance here today is to make you folks aware of a website and we hope assistance to you in your decision-making process on climate-related issues. We don't have any magic formula on climate, except we want you to know that our group endorses the climate consensus of scientists. It's a real problem. We need to act on it, and we're eager to help. We've done a lot in our businesses. We're doing more, and we think we've learned a lot that we can share with others, and we're happy to work with Michael Stoddard, for example, with the PUC, with the Energy Office, and with the Public Advocate, as well as others on these issues. I've asked Sarah to pass out to you digitally a handout which is printed off our website. The website is getmaineclimateright.com, obviously all one word at first. And we built it because we discovered in 2019 that fear impairs good climate decision making. And that's only natural because it's perfectly rational to be afraid of what's happening. The document has been distributed to you is a set of principles that we developed after several years of working on climate issues, frankly, across New England and to some extent the country with our members. And the most important of these principles after acceptance of the science is that we should make decisions that give us the biggest climate bang for the buck, because we don't have enough money in our society to do all we want, and we need to use our money carefully and intelligently and do the things that pay off the fastest. So we're happy to be helpful to you as time progresses. We're eager to have you take a look at our principles, and maybe, when things get really complex and you're having trouble deciding something, that you look at those principles and see if they can be helpful. We also provide examples of our experience and others, and are happy to do whatever we can. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. All right, and moving on, we have Nick Batista.
Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, members of the committee, my name is Nick Batista. I'm the Senior Policy Officer at the Island Institute. I live in Camden, just around the corner from Representative Dudera. My 4-year-old daughter likes to say hello to her chickens. She might be over there right now. The Island Institute is a 37-year-old nonprofit organization based in Rockland, Maine. We work to sustain Maine's island and coastal communities and are committed to a just, resilient, and vibrant future for the coast of Maine. We work in partnership with courageous leaders to support resilient communities and to confront a changing world. The Island Institute's community development work focuses on the marine economy, climate and energy, small business, education, and leadership. Broadband is foundational to all of this work, and all Mainers should have the ability to use high-speed, reliable internet. The Island Institute's part of the Maine Broadband Coalition that Nancy spoke about a few minutes ago, and in my spare time, I'm on the board of the Connect Maine Authority. The total number of residents along the coast is a little bit over 450,000. 75% of Maine's coastal communities have fewer than 3,500 people. 25% have fewer than 800 people. Like rural communities around the state, addressing the impacts of climate change can prevent a significant challenge and strain limited local capacity. These communities are also on the forefront of being impacted by rising seas. By 2050, a 1.5 feet of sea level rise is estimated to cause $17.5 billion in coastal damage and result in the loss of 21,000 jobs. Maine's coastal communities are also highly dependent on our fisheries. For a sense of just how dependent on our fisheries they are, the total value of lobsters landed in Rockland, Stonington, and Vinyl Haven are almost equal to the total combined value of all of the commercial fish species landed in New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. The Maine Climate Council's report, Maine Won't Wait, lays out a plan and a pathway for us to start addressing these significant issues. The Island Institute participated in the Climate Council process with staff on the Buildings and Housing Infrastructure Work Group, Coastal and Marine Working Group, the Community Resilience Planning Working Group, as well as the Science and Technical Subcommittee and the Equity Assessment Working Group. You're likely to see myself or some of our other staff before you on issues related to implementing the Climate Action Plan. Looking forward to continuing conversations with you about how to make sure Maine's smallest communities have the tools and resources they need to address these pressing challenges.
Thank you so much, Nick. And next up, we have Tex Hauser.
Thank you. Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, members of the committee, I am Tex Hauser, and it is a privilege to be here to represent the Maine Association of Planners and its Legislative Policy Committee. The Maine Association of Planners is the state affiliate of the American Planning Association, the professional organization for planners. The Maine Association of Planners represents 100+ community planners spread rather thinly across the state, working for towns, cities, regional planning organizations, tribes, the Land Use Planning Commission, other state agencies, and as consultants. In general, planners facilitate communities in thinking about how they want to evolve, and they work with stakeholders and officials to achieve desired community goals. To the extent that a community wants to guide development, planners also develop land use regulations like zoning and site plan review and assist planning boards in reviewing development. Depending on the needs of the community or region at a given time, planners are involved in environmental protection, open space preservation and trail development, economic development, housing, transportation, agriculture, infrastructure investments, and so on. In many cases, the trick is in how to weave these different disciplines together into win-win situations. That said, our main area of expertise is in land use planning and regulation. We hope that we can be of some help to ENR and the legislature in providing technical assistance in land use matters. This includes, for example, helping to implement Strategy F of the Climate Plan, build healthy and resilient communities. In addition to climate change mitigation and resilience, the Maine Association of Planners this session is interested in bills related to housing equity, environmental permitting, infrastructure, broadband, and considerations relative to the housing and organization of state planning functions. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you so much for that. Appreciate your joining us today. And next up, we have Rich Jordan. Whoops.
Hello, I'm speaking for Rich Jordan today.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you. Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and members of the ENR committee. My name is Alita Berman, and I am future president of the Maine Association of Wetland Scientists, or MAWS. Thank you for this opportunity to introduce you to MAWS and to speak with you today. Celebrating our 30th year, MAWS is a nonprofit association of environmental professionals, scientists, and students who work, live, and learn in Maine. MAW's primary goal is to promote the profession and understanding of wetland science in Maine. MAWS has about 150 members who work closely with the conservation community, developers, and natural resource agencies to avoid impacts and protect important natural resources. We believe our expertise in ecological principles, along with our experiences with the development community, gives us a unique perspective that could be helpful to the committee when considering new or revised natural resource legislation. We tend to have a holistic understanding of the interplay between environmental regulations, natural resources, and development. This perspective, guided by our association's purpose, technical expertise, and our code of ethics, helps inform our opinion on proposed environmental legislation. MAWS has often appeared before this committee to discuss issues regarding proposed legislation. We have presented testimony on numerous legislative proposals and have proudly served on working groups established by the ENR. It is our goal to remain an active participant and stakeholder in the legislative process in years to come. Thank you for providing us the time to talk with you today, and we invite you to contact MAWS if you have any question regarding wetlands and natural resource science in Maine. Our website is www.maws.me. Thank you, and we look forward to speaking with you in the future.
Thank you, Ms. Berman. And next we have Eliza Donahue from Maine Audubon. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and members of the committee. It's great to see you all this morning. My name's Eliza Donahue, and I represent Maine Audubon as their Director of Advocacy and Staff Attorney. So Maine Audubon is a Maine-based wildlife conservation nonprofit. We fulfill our mission to conserve Maine's wildlife and wildlife habitat by engaging people of all ages in education, in conservation, and in advocacy. We serve students across the state, from preschoolers all the way up to adults, serving about 8,000 folks a year. We do things like promote public awareness of lake ecology issues through our loon count program, our annual loon count on Maine's lakes. We work really closely with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and Maine's Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, managing and monitoring breeding habitat for piping plovers and least terns. Those are endangered species of shorebirds that live on Maine's coast. And then the work that I do, advocating primarily on state issues having to do with wildlife and habitat, but increasingly on federal topics as well, particularly when there's significant overlap with impacts to Maine. We've been around a really long time, trace our roots back to the Portland Society of Natural History back in the late 1800s. We've got wildlife sanctuaries across the state, as far north as Elliottsville Plantation. Ooh, man, you guys are keeping it quick. What I would say is I'm here a lot. It's nice to see you guys for the first time. Please reach out over email, my cell phone, and it's nice to see all your faces. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Eliza. And next up, Newell Auger.
Members of the committee, nice to see you this morning, admittedly virtually. I am a lawyer and registered lobbyist and a native of Portland. When I graduated from Deering High School, I swore I would never be back in the state of Maine. And when I was working as a business manager at a charter school in New York City, in Harlem, my wife got pregnant and we immediately moved back to Maine. And now I'm in Art Bell's district raising my kids. I started working as the Legislative and Public Affairs Director at DHS under then Governor King about 20 years ago, started my practice 15 years ago, and just moved into Pierce Atwood recently. And I'll be here in front of you on behalf of a number of different clients, but predominantly on behalf of the Maine Beverage Association. That is the trade group that represents the local distributors and bottlers in the state. That's Coke Northeast, Pepsi Beverages Maine, Poland Spring, Polar, and Keurig Dr. Pepper. They employ about 1,600 people, good jobs with great benefits, and are responsible for about $950 million of direct economic impact every year. One interesting thing about our product mix, it obviously 30 years ago, it's undergone a revolution over that time as people moving away from sugar sweetened beverages to more zero calorie, low calorie and sugar free beverages, which is a trend that we are promoting and also producing those beverages as the country makes that change. And in each of the years I've represented the group, that number's gone down. So normally I'm in front of you on bottle bill issues, but mercilessly that horse was beaten to death last session, and you can thank Representative Tuckers, Bloom, Gramlich, and the others who had to deal with it. And I'll look forward to working with you in the upcoming session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Auger. Beth Ahern is next. Welcome, Beth.
Welcome, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and members of the Environment and Natural Resources Committee. It is so great to see you, even virtually. I miss all of you. I want to let you know that Maine conservation voters help select conservationists to office. We work on policy, particularly about climate change, racial equity, and accessing voting rights, or accessing voting. So those are the three buckets. And we also represent the Environmental Priorities Coalition while we convene it. So I will be in front of you on 3 bills this session. One is Senator Carney's bill to close the loophole with out-of-state waste, the Juniper, otherwise known as the Juniper Ridge bill. Representative Gramlich's bill to phase out PFAS, and Senator Bennett's bill. He's the lead Senate sponsor, and the extended producer responsibility bill. So those are 3 bills that I will be talking to you about. I'll also be in front of you with my Maine conservation voter hat on. So mostly what I want to let you know is that I am like the old-fashioned switchboard operator, and if I don't have an answer for you, I will connect you to the person who does, because the EPC is 32 organizations, and that organization, that coalition gets together and decides on the priority bills, and it represents about 100,000 members. So I have connections to all of those organizations. Many of them you've heard from today and you're going to hear from. So I can help connect you, and please contact me early and often. So thank you very much for the time today. You've heard from a lot of people, and I know you have a lot more to hear from. So wonderful again to see all of you.
Thank you so much, Beth. And next up, Julie Marie Bickford.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and members of the Environment and Natural Resources Committee. I am Julie Marie Bickford, the Executive Director of the Maine Dairy Industry Association, also known as MDIA, and we represent all of the dairy farm families that are shipping over 70 million gallons of fresh quality milk each year, most of which is bottled for drinking at one of our 4 major fluid bottling plants in the state. Maine dairy's industry is an intersection of animal and crop agriculture. The agribusinesses that are critical to our success are also dependent on a critical mass of dairy farms in order to sustain their businesses, so they can continue to be a resource for all of Maine's farmers producing a diverse number of crops and products. Maine's dairy sector is critical to our economic development network in Maine, with over $570 million per year in economic activity, especially in our rural areas, providing 1,300 jobs on the farms and a total of almost 4,000 jobs statewide, supporting the effort to provide quality Maine dairy products to feed our people. MDIA is also a member of the Natural Resource Network, made up of various groups representing Maine private landowners and those who make a living from the wonders of Maine's natural resources. In embracing the stewardship of natural resources that Maine dairy farmers play, we play a key role in dealing with the impacts of climate change. We manage over 700,000 acres of active cropland, forests, and wetlands. And as you know, that's critical to our ability in the state to sequester carbon. In addition, Maine dairy farmers are working with our national industry groups to reach the goal of achieving carbon neutrality, optimizing water usage, and improving water quality and soil health. And I'm pleased to say that Maine dairy farmers are leading the nation in all of those categories and reaching those goals. Maine dairy farms also have the unfortunate distinction of being among the first in the nation to deal with the appearance and impacts of PFAS and PFOA in agriculture. Our dairy farm families consider food safety and the cleanliness of our animals and soils that produce the food to be of the utmost importance. Beginning in the late 1980s, dairy farmers were encouraged to spread municipal sludge on their fields. This was considered cutting-edge green science to enrich the soils while simultaneously dealing with a waste product that would otherwise plug landfills and pollute our waterways. Science is constantly evolving, and by the late 2000s, fewer and fewer dairy farms were accepting this material on their farmland. But as education and research has progressed so that we understand the chemicals contained within this material, we're now having to deal with the consequences in the form of these forever chemicals that were part of what was once considered a safe disposal option. We strongly support using the best available scientific information to make policy decisions and have appreciated the use of that approach thus far from our state officials and departments. The farms that have Okay. I will be appearing before you to talk about this more. And in addition, I will possibly be appearing before you as the president of the Agricultural Council of Maine. And I look forward to speaking with you more in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julie Marie. And next up, Julianne Smith. This is like all the farmers in a row.
All the farmers and all the Julies.
Right. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and members of the Joint Standing Committee on Environment and Natural Resources. My name is Julie Ann Smith, and I'm the Executive Director of the Maine Farm Bureau Association. For those of you not familiar with the Maine Farm Bureau, we are the largest farmer-run organization in Maine. We are unique as we operate as a grassroots, nonprofit, voluntary membership association where farmers create, discuss, and decide our policies. When I appear before you during this legislative session, I speak as a collective voice of farmers who work incredibly hard every day to grow the food that not only feeds our state, but grows our economy. Maine Farm Bureau represents every commodity, every production style, and every size of farm in Maine. Most importantly, we represent the farmers that have worked diligently to create Maine's current agricultural industry and the farmers that are working to grow the future of agriculture in Maine. We are able to represent the breadth of farming in Maine because our members meet each year to discuss the challenges they are experiencing, deliberate on how to solve those challenges, and vote on how the collective voice of farmers will speak to you as policymakers. I look forward to working with your committee on all of the issues impacting agriculture. With more than 8,000 farms, nearly 80,000 jobs, and approximately 1.5 million acres of Maine in farmland, Agriculture is a key part of Maine's environmental health, economy, and working landscape. Farmers depend on the health of their land and the sustainability of agricultural practices to continue their work of producing food for Maine and need your support to continue producing some of the best food in the world. I hope you consider Maine Farm Bureau as a resource and will reach out to me during this session if you have any questions on how a bill may affect the farms in your community. I also hope you will virtually attend your county's legislative pie social that will be held in the spring. Thank you for your time today, and I will be happy to answer any questions.
I'll just add that I'm sad it's virtual because I really enjoy that pie.
Well, I will try to entice you because we are going to send out actual pies to any legislators who sign up to attend. So you won't miss the pie, you'll just miss the in-person part.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Ellen Griswold from Maine Farmland Trust.
Good morning, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and members of the committee. My name is Ellen Griswold, and I'm the Policy and Research Director at Maine Farmland Trust. I really appreciate this opportunity to introduce myself and provide a brief overview of MFT's work. So MFT is a member-powered statewide organization that works to protect farmland, support farmers, and advance the future of farming. Since our founding in 1999, MFT has helped to permanently protect nearly 300 farms and keep over 60,000 acres of farmland in farming, while supporting over 800 farm families with a wide range of services. Over the last year or more, I've really appreciated being a part of the Maine Climate Council's Natural and Working Lands Working Group, and MFT was thrilled to see the inclusion of many important agriculture-related strategies in the new Climate Action Plan. Protecting natural and working lands is one of those critical strategies, and the Land for Maine's Future program is an important source of funding for protecting farms and helping to grow Maine's agricultural economy. MFT will be supporting legislation this session to establish a bond to provide more funding for LMF and to designate specific funding for farmland protection projects. We'll also be supporting efforts to incentivize the siting of solar energy projects that avoid or minimize impacts on agricultural lands and natural resources, so that we establish the right balance between supporting solar development and ensuring it does not result in the loss of important agricultural lands or impede agricultural production or land access. Given the impacts that changes to the climate can have on farm businesses, as we saw with the drought conditions last summer, MFT is also very excited to be supporting Senator Brenner's bill this session to establish the Maine Healthy Soils Program and provide farmers with the resources they need to adopt climate smart practices and become more resilient. Finally, the coronavirus pandemic has really highlighted the critical importance of high-speed internet access for farm businesses across the state. And as a result, MFT will be supporting legislation to expand broadband development. Thank you again for this opportunity to introduce myself and tell you a little bit more about MFT's work and our policy priorities. And I hope that you will call upon me as a resource if you have any questions about the topics that I mentioned today. I'm also happy to answer any questions. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Ellen. And Patrick, nice to see you again. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Senator Brenner and Representative Tucker, Patrick Strauch with the Maine Forest Products Council. I'm calling you from Exeter, Maine, so out here in the countryside. I've been the executive director with the Maine Forest Products Council for 18 years, a forester by training. The council has been around for about 60 years, and it's an industry trade group representing about $8.5 billion worth of annual economic activity in Maine, with it representing about 34,000 jobs. So it's a big responsibility. I have a board of 30 people representing everything from folks that harvest trees, the foresters, the truckers, as well as paper mills and sawmills and landowners. We're an active membership organization. We have weekly policy calls, and that's how I get directed in terms of the positions I take on the various bills that come up in the legislature. We also are part of the Natural Resource Network that Julie Marie talked about folks with a common interest in land and commercial operations. The landowners I represent are about 8.5 million acres in Maine, mostly commercial land, a lot in the unorganized territory. We'll get involved with your committee concerning shoreland zoning, site location, habitat, any kind of land use planning types of issues we'll weigh in on. Wood manufacturers include sawmills, who will be talking a lot about combined heat and power plants. So there may be some crossover with this committee and the Utilities Committee. We have secondary manufacturers like Vic Firth up in Newport, Maine, that make drumsticks, and pulp mills as well I represent. And I have a pulp mill environmental affairs committee, and we, as a group of all the pulp mills in Maine, get together and talk about the issues. So we'll try and represent that group on air emissions, water quality, packaging, and PFAS is also an issue that's popped up on our radar screen as well. All these issues, of course, come kind of together in the Climate Action Plan, which I was and still am a member of the Governor's Council. So we look forward to working with you on those issues. I have a staff of two. Sue McCarthy is the office manager, and Roberta Scruggs is my communications director. And I get support from Michelle McLean from Capital Strategies, and Bill Ferdinand, who talked earlier, from Eaton Peabody, and Brian Rayback, and some specialists at Pierce Atwood also helped me with the technical issues. So look forward to working with you as a group. And if I've done my job well, you'll get to meet a lot of the people that I represent. So glad to take you on tours and put you in touch with members to learn more about the various topics you'll be working on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, and our final presentation for the morning, now afternoon, is Christine Cummings. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Senator Brenner, Representative Tucker, and members of the committee. My name is Christine Cummings, Executive Director of the Maine Grocers and Food Producers Association, and I have the privilege of standing between you and lunch. As within our title, we are a nonprofit membership organization dedicated to the prosperity of Maine's grocery and food producer industry. We are primarily an advocacy entity, and while offering networking and educational events as well. I tend to say that we work to ensure Maine is a food-friendly place to do business. Our industry includes independent storefronts, specialty stores, mom and pop markets, chain supermarkets, and convenience stores, as well as food and beverage producers such as Maine's largest dairy operators, Okerson Hood, to other well-known Maine brands such as Wyman's, Blueberries, Stonewall Kitchen, and Poland Springs, to entrepreneurs and innovators, including Maine Grains, Good to Go Dehydrated Foods, and Bixby & Co., to name a few, just giving you a flavor of whom we work with. We also work closely with the distributor and wholesale partners who help bring products to Maine's grocery stores and supermarkets, such as Pine State Trading, Dennis Paper and Food Services, and Performance Food Service. As noted within the Maine Department of Labor's Industrial Employment and Wages from 2019, Maine is home to 269 food manufacturing companies, 108 beverage and tobacco manufacturers, and more than 250 grocery stores in Maine alone. And interestingly, the Maine story has the potential for 10 to 20% premium in the marketplace, stemming from a study produced by Portland's food incubator kitchen, Fork Food Lab. To no one's surprise, the COVID-19 pandemic has been extremely challenging for our sector, including those who've had to completely change their business models, find new customers, and abide by the abundance of new protocols to ensure Mainers are safe, healthy, and continue to have access to food. We're continuing to help our members navigate the pandemic, including the expectations of the industry. One of the latest reports notes that 55% of shoppers are eating at home, and more often since the pandemic began. So we're keeping a close eye on consumer trends and shopping habits, new food preferences that are here to stay, and what that might mean for Maine's food producers and grocers. Of interest to the committee, our members are interested in product stewardship, such as the bottle bill, discussions on packaging, including reduction, recycling, and any potential chemicals within those packaging elements, as well as discussions on plastic bags, food waste, and other sustainability efforts. And so I thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself today, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you so much. What a great morning. Well, I hope we all feel like that went smoothly for our first public hearing. I'll take feedback, positive and negative.
Very positive.
Okay. Does anyone have anything housekeeping wise that they would like us to touch on before we adjourn for the day?
Do we want to talk about the rules today or wait until Wednesday?
I think we have it scheduled for Wednesday morning to have a discussion and possibly a vote if we're ready.
Okay.
And Senator Carney.
I'm sorry that I was late. I was tied up in a meeting related to my other committee, but that was what I was going to ask. Did I miss a vote on the rules? But I'm glad I haven't. Thanks.
And then the other thing that hopefully we will vote on Wednesday morning will be the supplemental budget. Representative Tucker.
I just wanted to ask Vicki, just for a 15-second preview of what you folks came up with, Beth and you.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. And Beth and I communicated this morning, so we are both on the same page. We felt that the model rules, along with the COVID addendum, were fine. We looked over the rules that the committee used last session, but we didn't think that we needed to change the model rules. We felt that they would suffice and do very well. So we'll be presenting that on Wednesday, I guess.
Thank you. And Representative Ziegler.
Yes, tomorrow's Zoom meeting with E2 Tech. I looked for the sign up, but essentially I saw nothing but joining the group. Is there somewhere we can sign up that we don't have to pay $30?
Yes, I can send that out to the full committee by email. Anyone else with questions? All right, a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, everyone. We will see you again at 10 o'clock on Wednesday.
Thank you.